Hello, my name is Paul Ashby. Hot Rod Paul is what a lot of people call me. The first thing that I'm going to go through with you today is an AMC Hornet dashboard. For those who know or are familiar with the AMC Hornet or Gremlin from the period of 1969, 1970 to 1975, the dashes roughly look like this. This is an Australian dash. As you can notice, the knobs are on for the lights and wipers on the right hand side versus the USA versions, which are on the left. All else stays the same. Now, these dashes have a lot of inherent problems over time. People who play around with them, play around with the electrics, burn things out, don't know how to fix them, and my objective here is just to go through and fix them up. This dashboard, when I first got it, had a direct short from the clock from here to here. We can see that people have cut, we have a loom that's been cut. I'm in the process of restoring all of that and getting another connector, but it's just identifying what the wires are. The first thing that I encountered was that the temperature sender and fuel sender were not earthed. With these, they typically need to be, pick up their earth for those 2 meters via the speedo. So what I've done is just made up a jumper which picks up it direct to the casing of the speedo. I've also earthed out the other side to the clock and lights, and ran a harness all the way through here and back here into the main wiring under the loom, under the dashboard. The other 2 wires here, which I've picked up on, are just for the power of the clock and the lighting. The first thing I noticed here was that many of the lights had blown. These lights generally don't fatigue and blow on their own. They're generally through a short circuit. On investigation, we had 1 broken pin here. We also had a track that was burnt out here and here. Also had a track that was burnt out here, all the way in between here, which again is for the lights and the gauges. The resistor which we have here, which they use as a noise suppressor, that was heavily burnt, so I've taken that off and repaired that with more heat shrink, a thicker heat shrink, and some protection underneath. What I've done is I haven't used steel wool. I've scratched all of the surfaces here for the lights, and then bending the terminals underneath. I've also replaced the bulbs with the LED versions, which are lower wattage but give a brighter light, and bent the pins and done all that sort of thing. So you might ask, how do I repair the circuit board and get it as neat as this? There are products available. I use a copper wire which you can buy from any electrical store. But if we have a look at this, it's a turn off the light. It's a copper adhesive. You can get it in various different sizes, right up to 15 or 20 mil. But I elect to go for a 5 mil width trace. That way I can cut it down to any size to use as a circuit. As a trace on any circuit. So what I do is I cut this copper foil to length, take the sticky backing off the back of it, which is just paper, and I bond that to a clean surface after I've cleaned it all up, and then cut away the failed area. Once I've stuck it down and then pressed it in so that it's bonded correctly, I then use solder and go over the top of it and create a very firm connection. And that's my way of repairing failed circuit boards, especially on the Rambler Hornet. Upon checking this, the circuit board all functions as it should now, and I can now almost it's almost ready to get put back into the car, which you'll see in another video. Thank you very much, YouTubers.